Perfect. Alrighty. So we got Dante here. Dante, what brings you? I know we did a consultation before, but just briefly, what brings you to wanting to get your credit repair?
Cause there's a lot of things I want to do for myself and for my business in the future that will require me to walk inside places and have leverage with my credit and not just walk in there and be all nervous because I'm not walking in there um with the best case scenario, I guess. I mean, just having a stronger credit score just really opens up a lot of doors for not only myself but for business funding as well. So I do feel like that's a strong point to have whenever you're just trying to get lending for anything, I would say.
Yep. One of the things I always say, and I have to say this because it reminds me exactly what you said. One of the things that was like, it was like a weight lifted off my shoulders was when I finally cleaned up my credit. I understood the game. And now when I apply for credit, I remember those days, where you go inside the car dealership and I don't even know if I'm gonna get approved. You just like, man, how much they want for a deposit? I'm just hoping. And
Yeah,
what it is, or you fill out an application, like, I don't know if I'm gonna get approved. But once my credit got cool, then it changed. It was like, all right, I need this. Let me go in here. I know I'm gonna be able to get this. It's just negotiating the interest rate. Okay, yep, this is happening. I need extra cash for this. It's that, man. Ain't nothing better than that feeling, bro. I know exactly
man.
what you're talking about. Oh, it don't get
Yeah, because it takes a lot of the guesswork out of it on whether or not you're gonna get approved. Because you know when you're going in, you can look at like pretty much anything you want and almost have a guarantee approved in your head. It's just you working out the fine details and everything at that point. So
And that is the key, man. Once you get your credit right, you ain't even worried about that. Now it's just, all right, how much are they going to give me? Or how much can I get? And even when your
right,
credit gets better, then you even know the thresholds. Like, oh, okay, I need another credit card. Okay, I want this. And now for me, when I apply for credit cards, it has to make sense. Now it's not about crossing my fingers and hoping. It's like, all right, well, I'm
right,
about to go on a vacation. This got an introductory bonus. How much is it? Okay, I'm about to fix this part. So I'll know. My last trip that I went at the beginning of this year in January, we went on a cruise with for my sister's 50th birthday. And I remember, she told us about a year in advance, and I was like, all right, well, what I'm going to find? I found a Chase credit card that gave me an 80,000 point introductory, and I knew that if I bought the tickets to go on the cruise, that I would get those points, and then I used that for hotel stay because obviously we had to fly to New Orleans from San Diego. I had to fly there,
right.
and food and extra little stuff here and there, and a rental car for that day to get there and back. All that was paid for, and it was just because now I had good credit and I was able to do that. Okay, so the next question I have for you is, if I remember vaguely, you were dealing with a company that's actually fixing your credit now, and you were looking at possibly settling out your accounts, correct?
Correct.
Let me ask you this: how did you find me?
Um, I believe I found you on YouTube. I was playing with the wording, I guess, on credit and stuff like that. And a couple of your videos was actually popping up in my searches. So I mean, so I was like, you know what? Let me check this out because I've heard a lot of other people say like don't pay collections, charge offs, whatever. They got their whole reason why behind you shouldn't do it. But one of your videos was actually I think you were the first one that I actually heard that say you should pay them, but you have some other tips in there as well. But I just felt like you were coming from a real place, and considering your background, um, your professional background, I mean, it just made sense as I listened to more and more of your videos. So
Okay, awesome, awesome. So yeah, that was the thing, man. So that makes a lot of sense. I always ask how people find me, just because the majority, 95% of stuff came from YouTube, and it's not even like I have like a big following there or whatnot. But I've been putting up videos and so forth, and when people seem to look at my videos, they're like, okay, well, if he's been in debt collections, all right, that's cool, and he's telling us the truth. Because one of the things you always hear is, don't ever pay debt collectors, and I'm just like, I always use the analogy of this. It's almost like taxes, right? Like, as we know, there are no like set laws that say you have to pay taxes. Yet you see people
Right.
go to jail all the time for tax evasion. It's similar to collections. Now, don't get me wrong. There are a few dudes. There's one dude I'm actually going to pay for his thing. Who they do that whole sovereign thing and like, oh, I don't owe the debt to the debt collection agency. I owe it to the creditor, so I have no business with them. And people state all of that, but then you're like, well, how do you get rid of it? No one ever gives you
Right.
any scoop on that, and I haven't found it. So if you're out there and you see this video, let me know. Put it in the comment section and let me know exactly how to do it. Otherwise, the reality is this. This is what I tell people, and I worked in debt collections for so many years, and that's not why I'm saying that, because now I'm on this side, and I prefer helping people, even though I made way more money on that other side. But this is the thing. If you never had to pay them, then why is it underwriters, if you're trying to buy a home, they look at your credit report and they'll see those collection accounts on there and tell you, you got to take care of those first. Whether it's deleted or you pay them, you got to take care of that first because they don't want a lien placed on that property. Or if you're trying to get a car and they're vetting you or a credit card, they're going to tell you straight up, you got a bunch of collection accounts you don't pay. If in fact that were true, they would tell you right off the bat, oh, these are collection accounts. It was with the collector, so you don't have to worry about paying those. No, they tell you you have to pay them. And so I always tell people that with regards to that. Okay, so awesome. Let me do this. I'm going to quickly pull up your credit. Once you pull a copy of your credit report, all the way at the bottom, you have the creditors and the contact information. This is how you get it. Now, if there's a case where it's First Progressive, and you see it has a post office box but no phone number, if that's
Uh-huh.
creditors you have, you want to put Progressive in Google. Go to Google, do a Google search like here, and just put Progressive Management Systems. This is what it's showing here. And then if you want a phone number, boom. And you can go right here. You could call the number and find out. But
Okay.
right, that's how you do it. But in your case, this is what I'm gonna tell you to do. Once you write down all of your derogatory accounts, you know who the original creditor is, right? That's who you actually had the loan with. In the chain of command, which is what you're going to learn going through here, budgeting, going through the chain of command. Once you sign up, you go through the chain of command, and it's a video. It's going to teach you exactly what you need to do. Now, in that case, I want you to start with the original creditor. When you call them up, say, hey, my name is Dante Williams. They're going to want to verify last four of your social, stuff like that. It's fine. Give them the last four of your social, whatnot. Let's say the
Okay.
account with Capital One. When you call them up, if the account was sold to another agency, then they'll give you the number to the agency it was sold to. Then you'll have to call them up and say, hey, I'm calling you. I was told from Capital One that you guys have my account. Do you have it? They're going to want to verify information. Now, when you're verifying information, give your first and last name, give the last four of your social, and your current address, because you want documentation to come to you. Now, if they
Yeah.
ask if you're working, that's where you don't want to tell them. Do not give them your place of employment. Just say you're not working or whatnot. And when you verify
Okay.
they actually have the account, then you want to ask them, and it'll tell you in that description, it'll tell you, okay, I need a demand letter. I need some type of letter showing that you guys currently have the account, and have them email it to you. Give them your email, have them email it to you. Or fax it to,
Okay.
get a fax, but have them do that with regards to that. And that way you're going through the chain of command. Start with the original creditor, and then that way you know you'll get to someone. Because what can happen in the debt buying situation, this is what can happen a lot of times. You'll call a collection agency, and because
Mm-hmm.
they're the ones reporting on your credit report, they'll get on the phone and they'll know that the account, they no longer have it, but they can still try and get you to pay it. And they'll say, yeah, we'll accept the settlement. And you owe $5,000. Let's say you owe $1,000 to keep a round number, and they set $500. You pay the $500, and you're like, oh, you think everything's done. Then come to find out later, they didn't have the account. The original creditor, some other collection agency has it. And they'll call you to pay, and then they'll
Yeah.
like, well, I already paid, and they'll be like, well, all I can do is apply that balance towards it, and you end up having to pay the full amount. So that's why going through the chain of command is so key. Start with the original creditor, and then eventually you'll get to a debt collection company, and as long as they send you documentation showing that it's yours, don't admit to the debt. It'll show that it's yours, then you'll get it. And so once you do that, you'll have an idea of what's going on with regards to that. And then
Okay.
it'll come because you'll go through it. So you'll go through the budgeting on there, you go through the chain of command and settling accounts. You want to look at that. It's going to teach you some stuff with regards to how to negotiate your pay to delete if in fact you're paying. Because what you want to do is negotiate a pay to delete on all these accounts. Now, understand something. The creditors don't have to accept the pay to delete. They can say, no,
Uh-huh.
don't do pay to delete. There ain't nothing you can do, but you still paid it off. So underwriters will show that it's been paid. If you can get it deleted, that's the best. But within the negotiation, it's going to tell you right when it comes time to pay, then you hit them with that. So before you pay, because if you give them the money, then you lose all your negotiating things. You do
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
stuff, and it's going to teach you in there. And then right before it's time to pay, then you say, "Oh man, I forgot. I need this deleted off my credit report. I'll pay you the money. Make sure you have money in hand and whatnot. I'll pay it to you, but I just need to pay to delete." And if they say, "Okay, we'll accept the pay to delete," yeah, we'll do a pay to delete. You got to get it in writing first. So say, can you email me something
Right.
showing that you agreed upon that? Because what'll happen is with that letter, once you get it, then you pay. Make sure you get a settlement letter. It'll show you all that, an arrangement letter, whatever it is, before you pay, and you get that in writing before you pay it. Because then if you do pay them, typically they'll have 30 to 90 days, depending on, to update your credit report, to delete it off your credit report if you negotiated to pay to delete. And at that time,
Okay.
and once that does happen, then you'll know because you'll have the proof. So if you look on your credit report and it's been 30 days or past whatever date that they're specifying they'll do it, you can send that letter to the credit bureaus and they'll update it and do it. But if you don't have anything in writing and you call up the credit bureaus or you're saying, yeah, they said they'll delete it, it'll be your word against theirs and you're going to lose. So,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
yep. So,
So I know with sorry to cut you off, but I know with one Navy Federal, I actually had tried to do a pay to delete with them over the phone.
right.
But they stated that they don't do the pay to delete route.
Yeah.
Like they don't update the accounts or nothing like that. So
Yeah.
that one, I mean, I probably wouldn't have no luck on. Like I would just have to pay that balance
Right.
for that one.
Right.
But yeah, yeah, they wouldn't do the delete portion of it.
Yeah, and that's
Uh,
fine. So if that happens, I mean, hey, you're trying, you know what you're trying to do, so you're gonna probably
yeah.
pay that one. But remember, if they do accept it, get in writing. If they don't, just get your arrangement with regards to that, and then you're gonna have to. And it tells you in that debt negotiator pro, you're gonna have to follow up with them or make sure you get your paid in full letter. So that's key. So I
Okay.
paid typically 30 to 60 days. They'll give you a documentation showing it's been paid in full. Keep that for your records. I can't tell you when I worked in debt collections how many people I've gotten on the phone. They're like, I already paid that account. And I'm like, oh, you paid it? Okay, well, where's the proof? Well, I never got a letter. Oh, okay. And then it'd be like a year down the road. They try and go back to the debt collection company. The company's no longer uh, in service. It's dead, and they can't get that
Yeah.
documentation. So once you get that letter, I always tell people keep it for 7 years. So once you get that
Okay.
letter, put it in a file, keep it for 7 years. Because if someone else calls you about it, you'll have the pay in full letter. You can send it to them. It could close out because it happens because accounts are sold in bulk. It's not like they're only selling one account, they're selling thousands to hundred thousands to a million accounts. And sometimes in
Hmm.
the example, your paid account may get included in there, or it could be a shell
Yeah.
company including it in there trying to get, money off of it again. And with that proof, you'll have that. So your thing
Okay.
going through the debt negotiator pro, um,
Yeah, I'm gonna go through it today because I want to start like
done.
getting some of those counts out of her.
Yep.
So
So that's what you're going to have to do. So the budgeting, Pulling your credit report, you could skip that one because you already done it. The chain of command, just read it. So the stuff that I told you, start with the original creditor, it'll tell you that. And then settling accounts. So how to negotiate your debt. There's a thing in there asking about if the account is contingent or owned. That's key with regards to settling. If they own the account, then you could get a better settlement. If they're collecting on behalf of another company, you're going to get a lower
Hmm.
settlement. It's going to explain that. And then
Okay.
get all of that. And then the last thing which it shows here is how to pay a debt collector. It's going to break down how you're going to want to pay. If you have a credit card, not a debit card that you're using as credit, but an actual credit card, that's the best method. If you don't have those, it'll tell you the other ways to pay. Because
Okay.
some of these companies, if you're with the original creditor, then yeah, they're going to honor it. But some of these debt collection companies, I'll tell you something, and then later you find out they don't come through with what you're stating. With a credit card, you can get your money back. You got 6 months to get it back because they're not governed by, the same laws as a debt, as a checking account. So with the credit
Yeah.
card, they're mastered by MasterCard, Visa, American Express, and Discover. And they're on your side as a consumer because they understand money's made when you're spending the card. With the banks, they're private, they're publicly funded. They care about NSFs and all of that. They want transactions
Uh-huh.
through and what they can get money from. So they don't care. So when you pay with a debit card or a checking account or even a prepaid account, if something goes wrong, it's hard for you to get your money back. It takes forever.
Yeah.
So that's where it goes in on that. You got any questions for me?
Um, so what if I already know that one of the debts was sold to a collection agency
Uh-huh.
and I've already got emails from the collection agency? Do I still call the original creditor or do I just go straight to the people that's emailing me about the debt?
No, you go to the original, and you can go straight to them. If they're emailing you and they're contacting you, you can go straight to them. But
Okay.
yeah, just make sure, get your I know you were saying you have money and so forth aside. Get your budget in order and look at trying to settle. Because if you can settle, if they're willing to give you a settlement versus paying balance in full, that's one of those things a lot of people say. Always tell you, if you can save money, save money. They could care less.
Right.
Underwriters, even though it may show settled versus paid in full, underwriters don't
Uh-huh.
care. All they care about is if it's taken care of. The people who are approved
Okay.
for any debt. And so if it's taken care of and you could save money, save money. Save $500, $200, whatever you can save the money.
Right.
And
So what if they already have a settlement amount that they're trying to give me? Should I just go with that amount or should I counteract, like, you know what I mean? Should I just counter that
bro,
offer?
you are from the hood. Like anybody, why? And it's me too. I was that way. You just get nervous. I don't know what it is. Corporate America, you just feel like, oh, they already said da 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 da. Then we get with our friends and family, and someone they can have a store and be offering. You be like, can I get a discount? Can I get it? In never, bro, ask for a discount. They hit you
As for okay.
lower amount, you hit them with a lower amount. But your whole ploy, and you'll see within the Debt Negotiator Pro, is
Hmm.
you're like, I'm borrowing money. I don't have the money set up. So I'm borrowing it from mom, dad, whatever. So if it's $1,000 and they offer you $500, that's part of the negotiation. I got three, man, and I could give it to you right now. Money talks, everything else walks. I used to be a collector.
Yeah.
When I would offer, they call blind settlements when we send them out and we're just trying to get people to
Hmm.
pay. And a lot of people will get those letters and they'll just cut a check and send it and mail it right in the mail. When I owned a debt collection company, we would do blind settlements all the time. When we send it out, basically what you did, hey, we're offering you this, and people will send the check in. But the smart people, and I always tell people when I worked in debt collections, the easiest people to get money from, unfortunately, were single moms because they were
Yeah.
quite over that threshold where they ain't getting no assistance. They're working their butts off and they don't want no suits or nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
The hardest people to get money from is millionaires because they're always fucking. How do you think they became a millionaire? They negotiate everything. They're always penny and dime and everything. And then they hide all their money in LLCs and trusts and so forth. So when you try and yield
Hmm.
judgment, ain't nothing you can do to get the money from them. But To answer your question, they offer you 500 bucks, you come at three. And you may land in between there, but I teach you when you're negotiating with someone who doesn't, you got to know what your budget is. So if you had $1,000 to pay that $1,000 account, start at 500 bucks. And then they're going to come with something and they're going to work. But if you start at what you got, you
Hmm.
lost. So
Yeah.
if you all you had was 500 bucks and you start at 500 bucks, they're going to come back around six, $700. So you start at four, give yourself a cushion to save. Yep.
Okay. Gotcha. So when I pay it, do I ask for them to send that validation letter that it's been paid, or do they automatically supposed to send it?
So you ask. So within the debt
I
negotiation,
ask.
I tell you, but yeah,
Okay.
typically 30 to 60 days, they'll send you a paid in full letter, but they want to make sure they get the funds, right? So that's
Yeah.
the whole point. Because if they gave it to you right when you pay, you can cancel the payment and take the letter and be cool. So
All
typically
right.
wait 30 days. Yep. But make sure
Okay.
you get it and have them email it. If they're going to mail it, then mail it. But if you don't get it, call them back up and make sure. Because sometimes they'll just let it go. When I was in debt collections for years, I never sent anyone paid in full letters. I would have people calling me a year, 2 years later for them. Oh,
Hmm.
yeah, here you go. But some
Yeah.
companies, they'll automatically send it, but it's your responsibility to get it. So make sure you get it right.
Gotcha. So do negotiating the debt for charge-offs and collections work the same way, or should it be done a little differently?
All the same, pretty much. The only difference is,
Okay.
like if you're called, just understand, like if you're with Capital One, let's say Capital One never sold your account or they don't have an in-house, whatever.
Hmm.
The age of the debt, so the newer the debt is, the harder it is going to be to get low settlements. The older the debt, the easier it is. And with
Okay.
so just keep that in mind, but understand, don't be nervous when you're talking to them. Once you read the stuff, you know what I'm talking about when you go through the stuff.
Hmm.
But when you're negotiating, when you're talking to them, just tell them, like, hey, I don't have it. I only have this amount. Even if you got to hang up and go to the next account and just put down a note of what they're willing to accept. Because if they accept something, then okay, fine. Say, hey, there's nothing you can do. See, a lot of times they'll place you on hold and they're basically just
Yeah.
their numbers and seeing how much commission they can get. Because that's what I would do. And I always say, let me ask my boss and I'll place you on hold. I ain't going to ask nobody. I'm just trying to see what my commission going to be. So I'll go as low as
Yeah.
I possibly can. But they'll do that. And then they come up with a number. Don't necessarily accept it right off the bat unless it's like what you want. 50%. If anybody offers you 50%, you take that right off the bat or try and go a little bit lower. But if they accept that, that's cool. But if they go up 60, 70%, just write it down and say, okay, I'll see. Give them a day. You'll be surprised. Sometimes it'll be the next business that they'll call you back. Another thing is
Hmm.
with your negotiations, and you'll learn, I'm just going to tell you this in case you don't go through it. The best time to negotiate a debt is towards the end of the month, bro. We're close to it, the 21st.
Hmm.
Get all your money, get all your stuff in a row, learn all the stuff, and come the 28th, 29th, 30th is the time you're going to call. You're going to get the best deals because debt collection companies are a month to month business. You call me at the
Gotcha.
beginning of the month, I'm a lot less likely going to give you a settlement because I know, like, oh, I need to hit my numbers. The end of the month, I'm already in commission. So now you willing to pay 300 on $1,000 account. I'm like, hey, I'm going to make some money off of that. So I'm willing to settle out. That's another key. So get off
Gotcha.
towards the end of the month, call them at the right before the end and make sure you got money in hand to pay them.
Okay, so right now would be a little bit too early,
Yeah,
basically, is what
start
you're saying.
negotiating. No, I wouldn't necessarily do that. I would just write down the
Gotcha.
stuff, go through the classes, get at your budget, figure out what you're willing to pay and how much nest you got for each account, and have that as a thing. So when you call them up, all right, now I'm calling on this LVN account. The balance is this amount. I want to try and settle at this amount. Let me see what they're willing to do. And now
Okay.
you got money. So when you got money in hand, it's the best. Money talks, everything else walks. It's one thing to
Right.
call you up and then say, okay, I won't be able to pay it for 3 weeks. It's like, all right, well, I don't give a damn. I ain't giving you no settlement. Money is like, hey, he got the money right now, especially at the end of the month. I know I own to that.
He's motivated,
Niggas be right
yeah.
at the door. Hey man, hey, this guy, man, he got $500 right now. I'm like, all right, man, take it. Because we is making it.
Right.
So that's a key that
Okay.
you would never know if I didn't tell you that. But
Yeah, no, yeah, because I would have just caught on a random day like today and just said, hey, but
hey,
yeah, that's a good tip. I'm gonna use that.
yep, end of the month, bro. Any other things?
Gotcha. Um,
Because you settling out, so
not.
you end up canceling with them, that company.
I was going to do that tomorrow
Okay.
after I had my conversation with you. Yeah, so I'm gonna, get them out the way. So yeah.
And look at, man, see, and well, that was just that account. I didn't really look at your derogatory accounts because you was wanting to settle out. And it's going to take more time. And unfortunately, because they sent those disputes, there's a way you have to word the letters for a reinvestigation with regards to an account. But if you're disputing something different, see, that's the problem. I don't know. And most credit repair agencies aren't going to tell you how they're disputing the accounts because then they're going to feel like, how do you need them? That's the thing. I don't know how those disputes were sent out. So depending on how they sent the disputes would determine that. And that's why I didn't even go into it.
Okay.
But yeah, because
Okay.
that account, that Navy Federal should be gone. They don't have no account number on one, two account numbers are wrong. I do those disputes all the time with Navy Federal. When the account numbers are wrong, they delete them. But
Hmm.
they may sell it to other collection agencies. That's another thing. When you get accounts deleted, it comes off from that creditor. There's a
Hmm.
possibility they can sell it to another debt collection company, and that debt collection company places it on your credit again. Then you're right back at square
Huh.
one. But the only difference is there's a reinsertion letter. So if they do it, if they do that, knowing the account was deleted, they're supposed to send you something in the mail stating like, hey, I know this account was deleted off your credit report. We're placing it back on there, and this is why. And most debt collection companies don't do that. And then there's a letter you can send to the credit bureaus to get it removed. But yeah, anyway,
Okay.
that's something else.
Gotcha.
You're just trying to pay your stuff. The ones you can't get the debt you can't do the pay to delete, go ahead and pay them. And once you pay them, you'll be fine. And on your credit, I don't remember, you have positive trade lines, right?
Yeah, I probably have like two or three right now. I mean, for some reason my rent started reporting, uh, which I guess that's reporting positive as well. But besides the self, the new credit card I got, and then I'm working on getting a second one.
Oh,
Uh, all my student loans are reporting positive. So,
so yeah. Yep. So once you pay these
yeah,
accounts off, they're gonna be on there for the 7 years. But once you pay them off, hit me up because you got Debt Negotiator Pro. Remind me, and I'll show you how to dispute them to where the probability of getting them deleted will happen higher. And the reason why is because it's paid. So I used
yeah,
I used to get disputes, and when I would open the letter and it was an account that was already paid, I wouldn't even respond. I would just throw it to the side because it already got my money, so I don't care. And those accounts
right.
sometimes get deleted by that. So that let me ask you something. How has your experience with me been so far?
Very informative, man. I would say any credit repair company you sign up with, like they give you a little information, but it seemed like this is more intimate. This is more personal, like a one-on-one type thing. And like I said, you given to me straight and raw. So I mean, I do appreciate that. And the fact that you opening up your line for me to ask questions or if I have concerns, that's good too. So that to me, that kind of established more trust. So I mean, that's all green flags in my book.
Perfect. Thanks, man. And thank you for letting me record this so I can get it out to other people. So people dealing with similar situations will know exactly what to do. It was simple. He jumped, he joined my school community. Then
Oh
the rest
yeah.
of you join this month. What I'm doing now is one-on-one coaching. It'll be absolutely for free included. So you'll get that. After this month,
Okay.
I have to start charging, not you. You'll get it for free those 60 days and everybody who signs up. But after that time span, then the coaching and one-on-one is gonna cost. But I'm
Yeah.
a lot videos. I'm gonna put these videos in the school games so people can watch them and use them as references to help them out with regards to
Yeah,
credit.
that
Yep.
yeah,
So
definitely, man.
thanks a lot, bro. And then if you have,
No, thank you, man. Thank you for your time as well, man. I know, you taking your time out the day to do this stuff means a lot to people like me. So I do appreciate that, man.